Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Robert Rivera with Who's On First, and today's guest is going to be talking about nutrition. His name is Erik The Underdog.
Well, Robert, it's great to be here, and I'm so thankful for people like you that, go out of your way to interview people like me because I have a big heart for people. And, my name, Erik The Underdog, comes from my journey, in Ireland when I was very sick as a boy. I had deafness, 98% deaf. I had eczema all over my arms and legs. The doctors in Ireland saw me try to run, and it was like I was like a goose. I couldn't even go straight forward. I couldn't tie my shoe. I couldn't open a door. And they all had these verdicts for me, which were not good.
All right.
I wouldn't play sports. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things, but my mom fought for me. And so, Robert, I see a lot of people, they feel less than their brother or sister. They feel 20 years older than they are. Maybe they used to play sports and they've given up. And I want to fight for them. I want them to know that I'm 33 and I'm out there throwing sidearm and submarine and having the time of my life because I choose to. Age is just a number, and every decision we make has a huge impact in our lives. Originally from Ireland, and I live in South Carolina. I love living here. I love the small towns, Robert. I love to go into rural and urban communities and say, actually, I'm doing a big softball, baseball event for impoverished kids in Edisto Island in February, and I cannot wait to get out there and show them how to throw sidearm submarine and how to get into the best sport in the world, baseball.
At the beginning of this, you said you were deaf. You said you couldn't run. You said you had problems with your arms. What made you fall in love with baseball and become this athlete that you are now?
Well, I appreciate that, by the way. Thank you for that characterization because I like to think I'm fighting to become an athlete again. I did play American football when I was in high school out in California. And I was pretty good. I was a defensive end, but I always loved baseball. Baseball to me was so American. We first came over, I had a hard time adjusting at first. The phonics system was different. I was getting stuff wrong in exams, and I was still, recuperating from this sickness that I had, which was allergies, by the way. That's what it came out to be. All those doctors were wrong in Ireland, thinking I was autistic and all these things. I just had severe allergies. But thanks be to God, my mom met a doctor from England. God has a great sense of humor because Ireland and England have had an interesting history for 800 years. And
Right.
God used this doctor to say, wait a minute, the kids just got allergies. So we were able to work through these things with a program he had, an injection, and it was banned by the typical doctors, but it actually helped me because it was holistic. But I can just tell you, Robert, I wake up every day excited knowing I can do things that people said I couldn't do. And I think of so many people out there that have been told by somebody, maybe close to them, maybe a doctor, maybe a pastor, maybe a family member, oh, you're not good at that. You shouldn't be doing that. And they're speaking over their lives, and people are accepting that. And I'm thinking, no, don't accept that verdict over your life. I'll give a shout out to Coach Jeff Freeborn, CEO of Sidearm Nation. We did a camp together in Tallahassee, Florida. And we had all these 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds and college, early college age. And I just love listening to these kids and how they started dropping down and throwing sidearm because they couldn't throw 98 miles an hour, but they could throw 80 down there, which is very crafty. And in fact, I would argue more effective because everyone's throwing 100 miles an hour, it seems like now in baseball, especially, relievers. And getting to interview these kids, they were so excited that they were getting interviewed like on the field. I was treating them like they were, any other pitcher, whether it was minor leagues or whatever. And I just love to see people's eyes go from closed shut, there's no hope, to wide open. Right. That they can actually believe they can do things they never thought possible.
I see you're full of energy and you're really excited about this. Could you give me like one story where this actually happened, where, you had somebody with no hope and then all of a sudden they talked to you and it just came around, like that light bulb went on for them?
There was a person today who sent me a message, and he's 22. He's in college. He's been competing. I think he had a pretty bad injury. And he said, Erik, because of your posts and your profile, you've given me hope to believe that now by throwing sidearm, I have a chance. And he said, I watch all of your posts. I just want to thank you. He wrote this big, long Instagram message. And we've never communicated. We had never communicated, and he had just been following me. And I just was like, if I can help one underdog out there, then I'm doing
Mhm.
my job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like people get obsessed with social media. How many followers do I, that means nothing if you're not making an impact in someone's life. And
Yeah.
it's not rewarding either. You know, a lot of people have vanity and it's empty. Let me just tell you right now,
Yeah.
vanity leads to absolute loneliness and emptiness. But if
Yeah.
you're changing a few people's lives, you can ride into the sunset when the time has come for you because you made a real impact.
Yeah. My favorite baseball player is Roberto Clemente, being the greatest, I'd say the great one, but also the one that was going out there and trying to implement change. It was more than baseball to him. It was about a culture. It was about a language barrier. It was about a color barrier. It was about respect, being treated as a man, and understanding that, hey, we are human people. He goes, I'm a champion, but I'm a champion for the people. I see that in you. On the nutrition side of this, what did you do to change the nutrition?
So there's a couple of kind of, underdog moments in my life. So fast forward to 2007, I was playing defensive end. I got into a terrible accident. I went head to head with the running back. I had a fourth-degree concussion. My spine had so much damage, from that hit. I was on all kinds of medications for what they thought was epilepsy and all this stuff. And it wasn't until I was weaned off the pills and actually started again going more holistic that I kind of came back. And then only 2 years ago, I got hit by a drunk driver at 100 miles an hour in the back. And
Wow.
that, whiplash was something else. But I would say the big moment for nutrition, to answer your question, that changed my life was in 2016. I'd been working on a lot of nonprofit work, and I was getting very overweight, and I would argue more unhealthy. My self-esteem was very low, my energy was low, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I need to do something different. And my mom challenged me, and she said, Erik, you're looking a little bit chunky. And I was like, thanks a lot, Mom. And she said, just try this stuff out, okay? And if it doesn't work, at least you tried it. So I got hooked on Arbonne nutrition, and I started craving, as you know, grass-fed beef, organic chicken. I loved our plant-based protein shakes, energy Fias, I call it. It gives me a lot of energy to do what I do, and it's all natural. And I just was so proud to use it. And I said, well, shoot, if I lost all this weight and I feel great, and I more than that changed my habits, why wouldn't I want others to know about it too? Especially, this is important, especially baseball and softball players. I don't pretend to be the biggest basketball person or tennis, or I'm a baseball guy. Okay. And I want to bring my nutrition into every dugout in the country. That's like one of my goals. I'm on a mission, Robert, to prove a lot of people wrong that your 30s can be your glory days. And maybe even your 40s and maybe even your 50s. Like, I don't ever want to be a weak old man. I have no interest in that.
I umpired a 40 and over league one time. They had a player 78 years old. He hit a pitch down the line like a bullet. Third baseman scooped it, dropped it, scooped it again, and then he finally threw it. And I'm on the third base line and I'm pointing, and I finally see the throw. I'm starting to go up the first base line and I almost run into him. And he was just chugging away. He was just at 78 years old. If I move half as fast as that guy, I'm doing good. Give me a daily routine for you as far as your nutrition. What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And
it's a great combination of things. And I want to be very clear that, like, what happened to me, everyone's different. Everyone has a different body type, composition. I was very strict about not eating after 8 o'clock at night. I made a big goal to make sure I drink a lot of water, almost a gallon, almost a day, getting at least 20 minutes of good exercise in, not sauntering around to get your 10,000 steps, but running, jogging, do whatever you can do, getting on the bicycle. But a typical day, I have my gut health drink, my greens, which is this kind of green powder. I put that together. That gets me my greens for the day in case I don't have a chance to get lots of broccoli and all the greens there on your screen.
right,
If it was just kind of a crazy day. And I get my gut health, which is a probiotic and a prebiotic. I usually have oat milk instead of regular milk. They've ruined milk today with the mass processed milk. So I either do oat milk, almond milk, or coconut milk, which is probably the best for you. I put that into my shake, which is plant-based shake, brown rice protein, cranberry, and pea protein. And then usually my biggest meal of the day is actually my lunch because I figure you have more time to work it off. But I love going to places like Mediterranean food. Oh, Mediterranean is both delicious and good for you. And then, I might have a smaller meal that night, but when I'm really pounding, with the workouts, I can obviously afford to eat a little bit more, but just sort of depends on the day. And then when it comes to my workouts, I try to have a well balanced workout. I like to work my whole body. A lot of people say, oh, it's arm day, oh, it's chest day. I'm not really a big fan of that. I'm like, why not get something for your entire body, your entire system to be moving and working well? So I do cardio every day, work on the core, which is my least favorite, work on the core workouts, do the arm, do the chest. But if you do a well balanced and you keep it interesting, that's so important. Keep it interesting. Don't be boring. Don't do the same thing. Try out different things. Get your different body muscle groups to work differently. Sports is great. Playing tennis. I mean, talk about that's great for overall, movements you wouldn't make in a normal day.
Right.
Swimming is great for you, obviously, but it's so important that we get out.
So I see you wearing a Cubs jersey there. I take that's your favorite team, huh?
Die hard. No, die hard thing.
Who's your favorite player?
Well, I can show you. He's controversial, so just be ready.
Here we go. Sosa.
So, that's my man Sosa.
How's it go?
Oh, exactly. You gotta get that down. But to me, he was larger than life. I watched him WGN, loved his energy, sprinting on the field, and I know, look, the whole era was strange. I mean, looking back at it now, but we have to remember in the 94 strike, baseball was in a really bad place. And in many ways, you can make the argument that they brought it back. Now, there's warts in all parts of baseball history between the spitball and racism. I mean, all kinds of stuff was going on in the game. But Sammy just epitomized to me the fun of the game, and just being a kid on the field, and that's what I like to be. And then I love Kerry Wood. I love Mark Pryor, Carlos Zambrano. Oh my gosh, talk about passion. that guy was something else. And then today I love watching Justin Steele from Mississippi. He's got a lot of great energy on the staff. I think he's going to have a great season, breakout season for Justin Steele. I think we're going to be a surprise team this year. That's my prediction. Right. That's the Erik the Underdog prediction.
Erik the Underdog prediction. If I said tomorrow you're going to be the nutritionist for the Chicago Cubs, what regimen would you start giving them?
Oh my gosh, that would be. Can we make that happen? Can you somehow? Can you pull that string, Robert?
If I could, I would. You would be the trainer, nutritionist.
Oh my good. Well, actually, it would be easy for me. I would ask every single one of them: are they using whey protein? And if they are, get the heck off of it, because there's so many digestional issues that are coming from that stuff. I used it playing football, and I had gas and bloating, stuff I don't want to talk about, and none of that's necessary. You know what's happening? Your body's disagreeing. It's saying we actually don't want this
right.
in our system. So I would probably start with that, Robert, and then I would want to see what they're using for energy. Gatorade needs to go, and of course, every gosh darn press conference, you see the big canister, and I'm going, oh, give me a break. This stuff is terrible. And I would love to find out what they're using. And maybe, I'm talking to Kyle Farnsworth. He pitched for the Cubs years ago, and we're building a relationship. And I'd love he said he would try out the stuff I have. So maybe I'll start with ex-Cubs and work on future Cubs.
Yeah, work your way in, right? That you can go anywhere, back in time, and get a ticket. Where would you want to be?
Oh gosh, that is a great question, my friend. Well, I'll tell you one game I'm in the future that I'm really looking forward to. Okay. The day they bring Sammy Sosa back to throw a first pitch, I will literally drive to Chicago from South Carolina. I will be there to welcome him back. But I will tell you one game I was at was Greg Maddox's 300th win for the Chicago Cubs in San Francisco. I was there that day and got to briefly meet Sammy Sosa. He signed my mitt, and he was actually really nice, a really kind person that day. And that was a pretty historic game, watching Greg Maddox throw that amazing game against the Giants. But there's so many moments.
One of my favorite Cubs, ex-Cub now, and then he's playing on my ex team, is the Yankees, Rizzo.
Oh,
It's a heartburn, huh?
That one, he should have never left the Cubs. I mean, that's a heartbreak. So,
All
so
right.
Robert, you're a Cubs fan, I'm guessing.
No, 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 no,
No.
no. I used to be a Yankee fan, and I stopped being a Yankee fan in '94 when they canceled the World Series. I'm a baseball lover.
Yes.
I am a umpire fan.
Mm.
I went to the Wendelstadt School for Umpires in 2003. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing a show on them this year. Will be my 20th anniversary. I go back and I'm looking, and I'm like, I want to go grab my mask and get back out there. He's like, oh, you're getting bit by the bug. I haven't umpired in about, I'd say about 6-7 years. You know, I stopped umpiring. I just got tired of the arguments and fighting and the nonsense. It's just not for me. But anyway, all right, let's get back to nutrition.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny. I'm going to create kind of a side brand, which is going to be Underdogs Unite, because Erik the Underdog is just, I'm just one underdog. So we need a lot more. We need underdogs all over the world. Look, I am. What you see is what you get. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. There's things I've probably done wrong or whatever, but I'm giving it 100% effort, and I like to think I've done pretty well over the last goodness 6 years. And I think part of it is making it fun. My slogan is make it fun, make it run. And if you make it fun, then you're going to want to run. But if you don't, then why would you want to? We all have different needs. Like I'm at the stage now where I'm doubling the protein in the shakes, for example, because I want to muscle up. I want to keep showing what's possible with muscle development at 33 and 34 and going upward, along with just slimming down and looking the way you want to look so you can run, and being well balanced. Again, being well balanced is very important.
If somebody else wants to be a part of the Underdogs, how would they get in touch with you?
How people can find me is you can obviously where I'm on Erik the Underdog is on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok and YouTube. Just literally put in Erik the Underdog. You can email me at eriktheunderdog89 at gmail.com. I'm working on a website at the moment. And again, we're going to have all kinds of branding and gear and stuff that says Underdogs Unite. And also we have a private group with my mom. We work together on this called the Mind and Bod Squad, where we are challenging people with their reading, their eating, their exercising, and we're all kind of running together. So I love doing that with my mom. She was an amateur tennis player in Ireland for a long time. So I'm getting her back on the tennis court, and she's having her comeback.
Yeah, my position in baseball was a catcher. I was a catcher. In high school, I quit my junior year of baseball to play football. I said, Dad, I decided to play football. And he's like, you idiot, are you crazy? You're a hell of a baseball player. I can't believe. He was really, really upset with me. He wouldn't come to a game. And finally, one day he came to a game, didn't realize he was there. I was coming out of the locker rooms and I saw him at the gate. And I'm like, uh-oh, he's going to lay into me. Here it is, Came and he gave me a hug and he said, listen, man, baseball's your love, but football's your game. He goes, I ain't never seen an outside linebacker hit the running back, the quarterback, catch the halfback, and he only gained 4 yards. And you went all the way around to the other side and caught him. And I was like, yeah. He goes, boy, you fast.
Wow. So
yeah,
were you a good base stealer when you played baseball?
I was a good base stealer. I stole 16 bases in 12 games one season. But you know what? A lot of my was up here because my dad was constantly going to baseball games, constantly rules, umpires, coaches meeting, manager meeting, clubhouse meeting. And everything was just baseball. So the rules and regulations, they came naturally to me. And a lot of the guys, they play the game and they don't know the rules. And that's my edge, was my mental edge. I would turn around and I'd watch somebody and they go into a full windup and I'm standing behind them at second base going, I said, if this guy puts his foot back, I'm off to the races. You know what I mean? Like this whole persona of the underdog. How can somebody catch this energy? Is there a higher power that comes to you sometimes?
Well, I mean, my faith does play a huge role in my life, and I'm always asking God to give me, discernment. It's a good word, discernment to who should I speak to on a given day. I mean, I'm reaching out to a lot of softball and baseball coaches and players, and I see a lot of these uncommitted, players that want to get scouted and go to the right colleges. And man, I love finding these people that are in these small towns again and just saying, hey, let me retweet your stuff on Twitter. Let me fire your stuff out there to Instagram and Facebook. And, it makes me so proud. But I would just say, to answer that, that if you've been through adversity and you've been through pain and you've been through things that maybe weren't fair, you have two choices. You can either sit with it and dwell there and let that be your verdict in life, or you can take it and harness it. And like Rocky Balboa said, it's not how many times you get hit, it's how many
How
times
many
you
times
get
you
hit and
get
you
hit,
keep
keep
moving
forward.
forward. I just love that scene because that is, I've been through so much, Robert, in my life, emotionally, mentally. And look, there's a lot of depression in this world. There's a lot of people my age and your age and younger and older, and they are just feel so alienated. They feel like they've lost friendships the last couple of years. We live in
Right,
a really negative world,
right.
and they need somebody to come alongside and say, "You matter, and we want you in this."
Yeah. A couple months ago, I was up in upstate New York, and I went to go visit a cousin of mine. She's got, four girls, a boy. She works hard. Her husband works hard, and they have this beautiful house. We're just talking and we're laughing. And I told her, I said, listen, I got to tell you, proud of you. And she's like, really? I said, yeah. We came a long way from the Bronx. We came a long way. She was two sons, two daughters, my uncle, his wife, and they were in a 3-bedroom apartment. And on top of that, they had, a cousin staying with them or somebody else, some other family with them. And it was just 7, 8 people in this one little apartment. And I'm like, wow. And now you have this big, beautiful house, 3 stories, 6 bedrooms. I was like, we came a long way. And me too. I came from the Bronx. I live down in Florida now. And and I don't have anything really expensive, but I have a nice house. And you go back and you see those same guys that you used to hang out with, they're still on the same corner doing nothing with their lives. And you're like, I wish they would open their eyes and there's more to life than just that corner or just hanging out on that block or doing whatever they're doing. And it's just like, I was like, we come a long way. I'm not one of those type of people. And
Amen.
after hearing what I heard from my doctor yesterday and then bumping into you, and I'm like, you know what? God put you in my path. He really did. I really feel that, and I believe that he put you here. And then Rob, I'm gonna be Rob the Underdog now.
Man, I am proud. You made my day, my night, my week. I mean, that so proud. I mean, between that player reaching out to me today, I needed that. I mean, that's the thing too. Is people think, oh, he's got it all together. No, I don't. I have a lot of things I'm still working through. But when you get that vibe, Jock Peterson on the Giants talks about having a vibe. When you have that vibe, and people are attracted to that, it helps you out too. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
When you're encouraging, you need to be encouraged too. You can't just give and give and give and have nothing
Yeah.
given back.
I do this channel. I make no money off of it. I do this for free. This is a hobby of mine. This is I like. I like sending out information. And if I touch one person, then I touch one person. It's great for me. It's not an ego thing. It's not a money thing. It's just I want to be out there and show people that there's more to life than they just a little box there. They're blocked. My wife goes to school and she goes to the kids. Have you ever been here? You ever been there? And they said we've never left Ocala. You're 18 years old, you've never left Ocala? 17 years old, you never left Ocala? My kids have been to Paris. My kids have been, Washington, D.C. They've been to California, to Oregon. We've been all over the place. And it's just like, I'm like, you never left Ocala?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
does it, how's that even happen? But it does. And this is something that maybe their eyes will open and say, hey, it's more than just my little neck of the woods. There's more out there.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's interesting you brought that up because this event I'm doing in February in Edisto. I don't know if you know much about Edisto Island in South Carolina, but there's a lot of poverty on the island, and a lot of the kids have been in gangs, and the recreation center there tried to teach them how to play basketball. Well, when they got on the basketball court, they started punching each other to get the ball. They didn't know the rules; like they just knew violence. When I'm down there with them, I'm going to get them all in the dugout as many as I can and talk about being an underdog, what it means mentally,
Yep.
what it means emotionally,
Yep.
and what it means physically. And I want to give a quick plug. This little number here is from Sidearm Nation. I was talking about Coach Freeborn earlier,
Right.
and you can see the way he's throwing sidearm there.
Right.
Coach Freeborn's main reason for Sidearm Nation is helping basically underdogs who can't again throw 98 miles an hour, but they
Right.
could throw maybe 80 down here.
Right.
And in fact, I would argue it's more effective because everyone's throwing 95, 98 miles an hour. So when you get a crafty guy in there like a Scott Efros, like a Steve Cishek, like a lot of Chad Bradford back in the
Yeah,
day,
Bradford, yeah, the A's.
these kind of guys totally messed up the rhythm of the hitters.
Yeah.
I think every closer should almost be a sidearmer or a submariner. But remember Byung Hyun Kim back with the Diamondbacks? So many good ones. But anyway, I was talking to Eric Yardley. If you remember him, he bounced around from the Brewers. He was in the Cubs last year, but he's a free agent right now. And I just said, hey, I want to thank you, Eric. I said, I played as you in MLB The Show on my Switch, and I loved having another sidearm submariner. And funny enough, I saw that, and then I saw Sidearm Nation, and then I started throwing that way.
I'll give you one. You ready?
Yeah.
Dan Quisenberry, Kansas City
my
Royals.
goodness.
Wow, there's a blast from the past.
He's like the original sidearm.
Yeah, he's the original sidearm of that. But I remember first seeing him, and I was like, you could do that? And I was like, wow, that's great.
When I was throwing today, I really was in the mindset of use the legs and almost don't even think about the arm. And when I did that, like I felt no strain at all. Like it was amazing. And I thought, man, if I could really develop this, I might as well be a knuckleballer. I wouldn't even feel my arm. I could just throw and throw and throw,
Yeah. My dad was a pitching instructor and I was a catching instructor. So when we did baseball and stuff like that, we worked it together. And his thing was legs, a lot of legs, push. Make sure you push and then follow through just above your ear, come through on the outside, and then pick up the dollar. Finish up and then come down and pick up that dollar. Because I always remember pick up the dollar. And it was always
great.
He would throw the dollar down, and always one kid pick it up, and he said, no, leave it there. Oh, I thought it was $1. No, I'm not gonna give you $1 every time you finish. You leave it there. You leave it there.
Yeah, that's the eternal dollar.
Yeah. You just leave it there. You leave it there. All right. Well, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. If you want to reach out to him, you can. The descriptions are below. And as we say on Who's On First, keep swinging.
Amen.
If you like the show, please do me a favor. Subscribe. Right? You see it? It's right there. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, put that bell on. It'll ding you when I put something else on, all right?